Welcome to Stories Junction. Let's begin today's story. 7 years. That's how long Mia and I had been together. No vows, but we lived like we'd made them. Shared rent, combined savings, though the lease was under my name. It was a Wednesday morning when she dropped it. I was brewing coffee when she leaned against the fridge, arms folded, and said, "I think I need some time alone." I didn't face her right away. I turned slowly, mug in hand. "Alone," I echoed. She nodded, voice soft but sure. "Yeah, I feel like I'm fading into us. I need to find myself again." I didn't yell. People show their cards when you stay calm. "Okay," I said. She blinked, caught off guard. "What? If you need space, take it. But you're not soul-searching here." Her eyes widened. "Jasper, come on. You're not even going to talk this out. You didn't ask for a talk. You made a choice. I'm respecting it." She stood there, maybe expecting me to crack. I didn't. 20 minutes later, she was shoving clothes into a duffel bag, brushing past the living room. I didn't ask where she was headed. At the door, she paused, maybe waiting for me to beg, to fight, to give her some movie moment plea. I just opened the door. "Take care, Mia." She left without a word. The next morning, I woke at 5:30, made coffee, hit the weights at the gym, and came home to tackle work emails. Mia's absence wasn't a gaping wound. It was just less noise in my routine. My sister, Clara, called that Friday. "She really left?" "Yup. And you're fine." I glanced out the window. What's there to lose sleep over? Clara went quiet. She knew me. No chasing, no scenes. That weekend, my old friend Trey swung by. We sat on the patio, beers in hand, not saying much at first. He eyed me, probably looking for signs I was falling apart. "You good, man?" he asked. "Yeah." He pushed a bit, like he wasn't sure if I was fronting. I laid it out straight. Mia wanted space. I gave it to her. I'm not running after someone who's halfway out the door. Trey nodded, leaned back, and let it drop. There were moments, glancing at her empty side of the bed, reaching for my phone before remembering she wouldn't text. But I didn't let it fester. I dusted off my old kickboxing gloves instead. It had been years, but the rhythm came back fast. First session on the bag, my head felt sharper than it had in months. Mia didn't reach out. Not a call, not a message. That said it all. I wasn't her safe harbor. She thought I'd just wait, her backup plan. But I was already moving, steady and silent, with no intention of being anyone's second choice. The house didn't feel hollow, just cleaner. Then, on a Saturday night, Trey texted, "Saw Mia tonight." Didn't want to say, but she wasn't alone. I stared at the screen, then called him. He said he'd spotted her at a downtown lounge, cozy with some guy, laughing, her hand on his arm. She looked at ease, like the world was hers. He didn't linger to get noticed. I didn't need more details, just the truth. "Thanks, man," I said and hung up. No rage, just a cold click of understanding. 2 days later, Clara texted, "Not saying you heard this from me, but Mia's friend Lena posted pics from a vineyard outside town. Mia was in some with a guy. Think his name's Nico. You know him?" I didn't, but I knew enough. So that's what finding herself meant. 7 years, and within days of leaving, she's sipping wine with Nico. It wasn't her moving on that stung, it was the lie. She framed it as a quest for clarity, not a test drive with someone new. The next day, I cut her off the shared streaming accounts, dropped her from the gym plan. Whatever Nico was offering, thrills, attention, she could have it. Because if someone walks out, fine. But if they lie on their way out, everything before that starts to feel like a sham. That night, I boxed up her leftover stuff, clothes, books, random trinkets. Maybe it was the act of closing that chapter, but I slept harder than I had in weeks. When I woke, Mia wasn't on my mind. What was? The next step forward. And I was already taking it, wondering what Mia would do when she realized the door she left through didn't swing both ways. By week 4, the silence wasn't just bearable, it was welcome. No more tiptoeing around Mia's moods, no passive-aggressive texts, no dinners where we both pretended the tension wasn't there. I turned the spare room into a workspace, swapped out the beige couch she loved for something sharp and modern. The place felt like mine again. One evening, I stopped by the gym to cancel Mia's membership, still linked to my account. The guy at the desk pulled up the account, saw her name, and gave me a quick glance before nodding. "Got it," he said, no questions. I didn't care if Mia noticed or not. She hadn't texted about it. Then she broke the silence. A Wednesday night, her name lit up my phone. "Hey, just checking in. How are you holding up?" I let it sit. For days later, she called. I watched the screen glow, her name staring back at me. I wasn't playing hard to get. I just had no interest in making it easy for her to slide back in. I let go to voicemail. Clara called the next day, her voice cautious, like she was bracing for bad news. "You doing okay, Jasper?" she asked. I laughed. Better than ever. She hesitated, then admitted, "I never really vibed with Mia. Too unpredictable." I didn't argue. The truth was, I hadn't missed Mia since the moment I realized she wasn't missing me. She'd wanted to find herself, but she'd banked on me being the safety net if it didn't pan out. I wasn't. Work was clicking, projects flowing, focus razor sharp. I'd forgotten how much I could get done without emotional static. Kickboxing became my ritual again, each jab on the bag grounding me further. I wasn't punching out anger, just reclaiming space. Then, on a Friday evening, I got a message request on Instagram from a Nico Delgado. I almost swiped it away, but something made me pause. The message read, "Hey, I know this is random, but we should talk. It's about Mia." I stared at it, then typed back one word, "Why?" His reply came fast. "I didn't know you two were still a thing when it started. You deserve the truth. Can we meet?" I agreed. The next afternoon, I walked into a coffee shop across town. Nico was already there, sitting alone, looking like he was about to confess to a crime. I sat down, leaned back, and said, "Talk." He fidgeted, eyes darting. "Mia told me you guys were done. Said it was mutual, that she was just staying at your place until she sorted things out." He paused, waiting for me to react. I didn't. We hooked up a few days before she left. She made it sound like you two were over, like it was all casual. I didn't know she was still texting you, acting like nothing was different. I felt like a fool when I found out. I nodded once, processing. "Why tell me now?" He shrugged, looking down. "Because she played me too. You should know who she really is." I didn't say much after that. Just stood, gave him a nod, and walked out. No handshake, no promises to stay in touch. The air felt sharper outside, like the truth had carved away any lingering haze. Mia hadn't just left. She'd been rewriting the story while still in my house, playing both sides. I wasn't mad, just done. That night, I sat on my patio, beer in hand, staring at the city lights. The pieces were falling into place, and I was starting to see the shape of what came next. But I couldn't shake the question, what would Mia do when she realized her fallback plan had vanished? And why did I get the feeling she was already circling back, unaware I'd already closed the door? It was a Monday evening, 5 weeks to the day since Mia walked out, when I saw her name on my doorbell camera. I'd been expecting it. Her silence had stretched too long, too calculated. She tried texting again, a vague "can we talk?" that I'd ignored, followed by a missed call I didn't return. I wasn't dodging her out of spite. I just didn't owe her an easy reentry. Now here she was, standing on my porch, hands stuffed in her jacket pockets, hair loose and unstyled, looking like she hadn't slept well in days. I watched her on the screen for a moment, debating. Then I opened the door. "Hey," she said, her voice small, like she was testing the water. I didn't reply, just leaned against the frame, arms crossed. She shifted her weight, glancing past me into the house. "Can I come in?" I stepped aside, letting her pass, but I didn't offer her a seat. She hesitated in the living room, her eyes scanning the changes. The new furniture, the bare walls where her framed prints used to hang. "You've been busy," she said, almost to herself. "Yeah," I replied, voice flat. Felt like time. She perched on the arm of the couch, like she didn't trust herself to get too comfortable. I stayed standing, hands in my pockets, waiting. "I've been thinking a lot," she started, her words careful, rehearsed. "About us. About what happened. I messed up Jasper. I didn't realize what I had until I was out there, trying to figure things out. I let her talk, watching her build her story. She went on about needing space, about feeling lost, about how the world felt heavier without me in it. I listened, silent, until she said, "Nico and I, it wasn't serious. It was a mistake, something I thought I needed, but it just made me see how much I lost with you." I tilted my head, my expression still. You sure that's the story you're sticking with? Her eyes flickered, caught off guard. What? I leaned forward slightly, my voice steady but sharp. Because I had coffee with Nico last week. He told me everything. How you slept with him days before you left. How you told him we were done, that you were just crashing at my place. How you kept texting me like nothing was up while you were with him. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. Her face drained of color, and for a moment, she looked like she might bolt. Jasper, I didn't think you'd actually talk to him. No, I said, cutting her off. You didn't think at all. You thought I'd swallow whatever you fed me, that I'd be sitting here, waiting for you to figure out if I was worth coming back to. She flinched, her hands twisting in her lap. It wasn't like that, she said, her voice breaking. I was confused. I needed to know who I was outside of us. He was just there? It didn't mean anything. I raised an eyebrow. Didn't mean anything? You told him we were over. You lied to both of us. That's not confusion, Mia. That's a choice. She looked down, her shoulders sagging. I didn't leave because I stopped loving you, she whispered. I just needed clarity. I let out a short, humorless laugh. Clarity doesn't involve vineyard dates with another guy. Don't dress it up. She winced but didn't argue. Instead, she leaned forward, her voice softer, pleading. I know I hurt you. I know I screwed this up. But I'm here now, Jasper. I see what I lost. I thought I needed something else, but I was wrong. It's you. It's always been you. I studied her for a long moment, her tired eyes, her trembling hands. Part of me, the part that remembered 7 years of late-night talks, shared dreams, quiet mornings, felt a tug. But it wasn't enough. If Nico hadn't bailed, I said slowly, would you be here right now? She froze, her lips parting but no words coming. That silence was louder than anything she could have said. I nodded, like it confirmed something I already knew. Look, Mia, I'm not angry. You don't owe me a big speech, and I don't owe you a second chance. Her eyes welled up, but I didn't move. You're not even going to try? She asked, her voice cracking. I did, I said. For 7 years I tried. You're the one who walked out, thinking I'd still be here when you got bored of your adventure. She stood, shaky, and took a step toward me. I thought you'd understand. I thought we could fix this. I walked to the hallway, pulled a small box from the closet, her leftover things neatly packed, and set on the coffee table. I kept this for you. Figured you'd come by eventually. She stared at the box, then back at me, her face crumpling. So that's it? You're just done? Yeah, I said, my voice calm but final. I'm done. She didn't move for a moment, like she was waiting for me to soften, to give her an opening. When I didn't, she nodded slowly, picked up the box, and headed for the door. Right before she stepped out, she turned back, tears streaking her face. I hope you can forgive me one day. I already did, I said. That's why I'm letting you go. The door clicked shut, and the house went quiet again. I stood there, feeling the weight of the moment settle, but it wasn't heavy. It was freeing. I poured a glass of water, sat on the patio, and watched the city lights flicker. Mia was gone, and this time I knew she felt it. But I wasn't thinking about her anymore. I was thinking about what came next, how I'd already started rebuilding, how the life I was shaping didn't have room for someone who thought I was a fallback plan. And yet, a small part of me wondered, would she try again, or had she finally seen the bridge she'd burned? Only time would tell, but I wasn't holding my breath. The days after Mia's visit slipped by quietly, each one stacking like bricks in a wall I was building around my new life. The house felt lighter, like it had exhaled years of tension. I didn't check my phone for her texts anymore, didn't glance at the door expecting her to show up. I meant what I said, I was done. But she wasn't. A week later, my phone pinged with a new email, subject line, "Please, Jasper, just read this." I stared at it for a moment, thumb hovering over the delete button. I didn't open it. Whatever she had to say, apologies, explanations, regrets, it was just noise now. I'd already heard her truth, not from her words, but from her actions. I moved the email to the trash and kept going. Work was a machine, humming smoothly. I landed a new client, a big one, and spent my evenings sketching out project plans instead of dwelling on what was. The kickboxing gym became my church. Sweat, focus, the steady rhythm of fists on leather. Every punch felt like it was carving out space for something new. Clara noticed the shift when she came over for dinner one night. "You're different," she said, fork paused midair. "Lighter, somehow." I shrugged. "Just cut out the dead weight." She laughed, but her eyes softened. "I'm proud of you, Jasper. I thought you'd be, I don't know, stuck." I shook my head. "Not my style." Trey dropped by the next weekend, bringing a six-pack and his usual blunt honesty. "Heard anything from her?" he asked, cracking open a beer. "Email. Didn't read it." He raised an eyebrow. "Cold, man. Respect." We sat outside, the city buzzing below, and he told me what he'd heard through the grapevine. Mia was crashing at her friend Lena's place, bouncing between short-term rentals. Nico had cut things off not long after our coffee shop talk, apparently unimpressed with her games. "She's a mess," Trey said, not unkindly. "Keeps asking mutual friends about you." I took a sip of my beer, unbothered. "She'll figure it out." I wasn't heartless. 7 years with someone leaves marks. Memories that flicker unbidden, like the way she'd hum off-key while cooking or how we'd stay up late planning trips we never took. But those moments didn't pull me back anymore. They were just echoes, not anchors. I'd already closed out our joint savings account, transferring her share to her without a word. The gym membership, the streaming accounts, the little threads tying us together, all snipped. Each cut felt like reclaiming a piece of myself I hadn't realized I'd lost. Then came the letter. I got home one evening to find an envelope in the mailbox. No stamp, just my name and Mia's handwriting. I stood on the porch, turning it over in my hands. Part of me was curious, not about her words, but about what she thought she could say to change anything. I didn't open it. Instead, I tossed it into a drawer with old receipts and forgot about it. The next day, Clara texted, "Heard Mia's been telling people she wants to fix things with you. Says she's changed. You buying it?" I typed back, "Doesn't matter what she's selling. I'm not in the market." Life kept moving. I started running again. Early mornings along the river, the cold air burning my lungs in a way that felt alive. I reconnected with old friends, guys I hadn't seen much during the Mia years. One night, over wings in a basketball game, my buddy Sim asked, "You ever think about what would have happened if you'd fought for her?" I leaned back, considering. I fought for 7 years. Kept things steady, built a life. She's the one who walked. Fighting's pointless when someone's already checked out. He nodded, like he got it, and we moved on to arguing about the game. But there was a moment late one night when I wondered, not about Mia, but about me. Had I been too quick to shut the door? Not out of love, but out of pride? I sat with that thought, turning it over like a stone. Then I remembered Nico's words, her lies, the way she played both sides. No, it wasn't pride. It was clarity. I wasn't punishing her. I was protecting myself. And yet, a small part of me couldn't help but wonder, what was in that letter? Was it a confession, a plea, or just another story she'd spun to keep herself in the game? I didn't need to know, but the question lingered, like a shadow I hadn't quite stepped out of. What would Mia do next, now that she knew I wasn't waiting? And why did I feel like the story wasn't quite over? Weeks turned into months, and Mia's shadow faded further. The unopened letter stayed in the drawer, untouched, its weight diminishing with each passing day. I didn't think about her much anymore, not out of effort, but because my life had filled the spaces she'd left. Work was thriving. I'd taken on a side project, designing a community center for a local nonprofit, something that felt bigger than myself. Kickboxing kept me grounded, the gym a place where I could sweat out any stray thoughts. I'd even started dating, not seriously, just casual coffee meetups, testing the waters. Clara noticed, teasing me over dinner one night. "You're glowing, Jasper. Got a secret girlfriend." I rolled my eyes. "Just living, sis." She grinned, but I could tell she was relieved to see me moving forward. Mia's attempts to reach me dwindled. The email stopped, the calls ceased. I heard bits and pieces through the grapevine. Trey mentioned she'd moved to a new apartment across town. Lena posted vague Instagram stories about fresh starts. I didn't dig deeper. Her life was her own now, and mine was mine. But closure, I learned, wasn't always a clean line. It crept in quietly, in moments like waking up without checking my phone for her name or driving past our old favorite diner without a pang. I rebuilt my world piece by piece, and it was stronger for it. One evening, about 3 months after a porch visit, I got a text from an unknown number. "Hey, it's Mia. I'm in town for a bit. Can we meet? Just to talk. No pressure." I stare at the message, the first in weeks. Part of me wanted to ignore it, to keep the door firmly shut. But another part, the part that had loved her for 7 years, felt a flicker of curiosity. Not hope, not longing, just a need to see who she was now, to confirm she no longer had a hold on me. I replied, "Tomorrow, 3 p.m., the park by the river." Short talk. She sent back a quick thank you. The next day was crisp, the kind of fall afternoon where the leaves crunch underfoot. I arrived early, sitting on a bench with a coffee, watching joggers and dog walkers pass. Mia showed up on time, bundled in a scarf, her face softer than I remembered, but tired. She sat beside me, leaving a careful gap. "Thanks for meeting me," she said, her voice steady but low. I nodded, sipping my coffee. "What's up?" She took a breath, like she'd rehearsed this. "I owe you an apology. A real one. Not the mess I tried to give you before. I lied to you, to Nico, to myself. I thought I could outrun who I was, but I just made everything worse." I listened, my expression neutral. She went on, her hands twisting in her lap. "I've been working on myself. Therapy, journaling, the whole deal. I'm not saying that to impress you. I just want you to know I see what I did. I broke something good, and I'll carry that." She paused, glancing at me, but I didn't fill the silence. "I don't expect you to forgive me," she said finally. "I just needed to say it face to face so I can stop running from it." I leaned back, studying her. She wasn't the Mia who'd stood on my porch, desperate and grasping. This version seemed quieter, more honest, but it didn't change the past. "I appreciate you saying it," I said, my voice calm. "But you don't need my forgiveness to move on. You need to forgive yourself." Her eyes glistened, but she didn't cry. "You're different now," she said softly. "Stronger." I shrugged. "Had to be." We sat in silence for a moment, the river glinting under the afternoon sun. Then she stood, pulling her scarf tighter. "I'm leaving town next week. New job, new city. I wanted to close this right." I nodded, standing too. "Good luck, Mia." She gave me a small, sad smile. "You too, Jasper. You deserve it." She walked away, her figure shrinking into the crowd, and I felt no urge to call her back. That night, I pulled the letter from the drawer. I didn't read it, just held it for a moment, then tossed it into the recycling bin. Whatever it said, it belonged to the old story, and I was writing a new one. Trey called the next day, sensing something. "You good, man?" "Better than good," I said, and meant it. Clara texted later, "Heard Mia's moving. You okay?" I replied, "All good. Life's moving too." Closure wasn't a grand gesture or a tearful talk. It was the quiet certainty that I'd chosen myself, that I'd walked away clean. Mia had chased something she thought was better, only to find the problem was her. Me? I'd found better in myself. No hate, no regrets, just a clear path forward. And if she ever looked back, wondering why I never chased her, the answer was simple. Some people leave to find themselves, and some leave to find out they were enough all along. I was the latter, and I wasn't turning back.